Here's a budget version of presenting. This week we're simply interested in Chapter 3 in Warnock's text, Course Lessons and Content, which Warnock later clarifies as a chapter ostensibly about content, but actually about teaching modalities, suggesting that this week we're really just thinking about course content and course modalities. So basically we're going to talk about everything this week. Here's an approach I think may be useful. Let's downplay the content in terms of the actual materials we teach, and let's concentrate on how we deliver materials to our students and help our students understand and work with these materials. Specifically, let's consider the extent to which we're able to deliver and work with the materials in ways that are student-centered. Consider the distinction between Freire's concept of the banking model, the old pouring the information in their heads, versus helping students sharpen their writing skills and critical awareness. That includes the teacher, but more importantly, that includes active students. The challenge then becomes this: how do we migrate our on-site course lessons into our online worlds? Side note, take a look. Perhaps the migration is already happening. But pragmatically, how do we migrate our brief lectures, our Socratic discussions, our group work, our workshops and in-class exercises into asynchronous and synchronous online environments that privilege the student? Now, many of us are familiar with the available online tools and technologies. Our YouTube embedded short lectures. Anyone seen Evans Grammar Theater productions? Our blogs, our discussion boards, our email-based Socratic exchanges, our written lectures and follow-up questions, our Prezi prompts, even the use of guest speakers, like in this case where Nixon came in to talk about the distinction between blogs and wikis. The question, however, remains: do any of these tools necessarily create student-centered approaches to material? Or might the YouTube lectures and the blogs and the like still pour more than help students explore? Might we have to consider how we use these media in combination with each other? We do this in the on-site class. In the on-site class, I have to figure out how to use my technologies: the chalkboard and the desks, the student notebooks, even access to the copy machine, right? Consider a class lesson. I might ask the students to define sophisticated academic writing in their notebooks. Then I may gather responses on the board. They may say using big words or writing about important topics. I then may share with them a brief excerpt from a reading on that very topic, on sophistication. We may read the excerpt together, and then I might ask the students to get into groups and to relate the ideas in the reading and the ideas from the board. And now the fun starts. Earlier ideas become more nuanced. Big words gets crossed out. Notions of claims and evidence start to rise. Content no longer seems as important as how we talk about ideas. We go back to the board. We go back to the groups. Finally, the students go home. They go home with the class conversation, the small group discussion, the excerpt, their original writing. They go home with all of this in their minds, and they reflect. And then they jot down a paragraph about how they can apply the ideas from the class discussion and the reading to an interest or hobby that they have. They begin to consider how they can write sophisticated papers about skateboarding or World of Warcraft, even craft beers. And can't we do this whole thing online too? The lesson can remain the same. In this case, however, I may start with a blog question during the previous week. I then may collect the student responses, look for patterns and cool ideas, and develop a short YouTube embedded lecture where I can highlight these patterns and ideas that the students shared. I can then provide them the reading. And I can couple the reading and the video to a Google Doc that contains a table of all of their thinking. The students working asynchronously can look at the other student responses on the Google Doc, read a short article, look at the responses, Go back to the article, hop onto a discussion board or a Google Doc, and chat with fellow classmates about the concept. Finally, each individual student can write a blog entry where they can address what they would need if they were to write an academic paper about skateboarding or World of Warcraft or craft beers. Simply, I can use the online tools in a combination that's going to heighten or allow me to get at the student-centeredness. Now a quick break. I'd like to teach the world to sing in perfect harmony. I'd like to buy the world a Coke and keep it company. That's the real thing. Welcome back. Before the break, we were discussing how to use various course modalities and tools in ways that would allow us to create a student-centered online course. And it ain't easy. Warnock reminds us, the paradigm of many resources and technologies is that of the lecture or the delivery of information. He suggests a student-centered approach requires a more sophisticated use of technologies, and so it becomes up to us to remember Jim Sullivan's advice. We will not be defined by our online learning spaces. We are the shapers of space, the masters of innovation. And whatever damn system the American higher education consumer market imposes upon us, we shall rise above and create something engaging and empowering for our students. And so now I want you all to consider what you wrote down before you watched this little piece. And for those who attended the last meeting, consider our conversations there. How might this piece complicate, further support, refute, or clarify some of the ideas you and your classmates have? As always, my job is to pose the questions, not provide the answers. Good luck and Godspeed.